magic in the air tonight as the CFB Arena hosts two teams hungry to win their conference title at the end of the season. Northern Kentucky taking on UCF, and we are so glad you're along for the ride as well, alongside the sharpshooter Mike O'Donnell. I'm Bernie Gunther. This kind of has a March Madness feeling tonight, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, no question. Northern Kentucky can play. They're one of the better mid-major teams in the country, and UCF picked to win the American Conference. I think we have the most underrated game in the country tonight.
We got a ton of players that are going to be fun to watch tonight, including Drew McDonald. It's a guy, 3 games in double figures already this season.
Yeah, he does everything for the Norse. I talked with Coach Brandon last night over the phone, and he said he's everything to this team. He can play inside and out. I love his ability down the low post. He's got that old school Kevin McHale footwork and his ability to shoot the 3. Quite simply, McDonald is one of the best mid-major players in the country.
Well, the Nightmare here in Orlando, they waited a long time to watch Aubrey Dawkins hoop it up. But man, it has been worth the wait. What a start to his season here.
And Dawkins is just getting his feel. He's got that rare combination between fundamentally sound and freak athlete. He's so difficult to defend in the half court and one of the more electrifying players in the American Conference. Electrifying players in the American Conference.
Mike is right next to me. Can you put your headset on? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I hear it, actually, but it's probably really faint. I mean, I hear myself a little bit, but it's really faint. Do you hear me?
Nope.
Nope. Mike said he doesn't hear me either. Do you hear yourself?
No, I do not.
So you have your A2, we're standing right between you guys, or next to your left. Tell him what's going on.
I don't hear myself effects.
Was working. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check.
But then they're way loud. Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2, 3. Will you guys talk to me?
When they talk, they're overmodulating everybody else riding low.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's better. You guys are super loud in my ear, but that's okay. We can. Mike, you want to put your ears on real quick? Do you hear me now?
I got you.
Oh, good. We moved up.
I got Bernie. Can barely.
I don't need a camera recording it, so definitely a cell phone version.
Okay.
There you go. Can't really hear myself though. I can't.
Yeah, I feel like there should be, as Gus Johnson would say, more me to me.
I can't really hear myself.
Yeah, we can. It's really faint. I mean, if we were inside the O-Dome and it was erupting, it'd probably be.
Check, 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 check.
I'm not vain enough to really hear hearing my voice all the time.
More sneakers and rim and more me to me.
See the way this is at a right angle, it's a bad design. So you gotta have that, you almost have to have it slouched where you're catching. And eventually if you talk a little bit, then you don't hear it.
We got Joko, Robinson.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
Better?
3, 4. Color. Yep. Fantastic. Wow. Bernie, you sound great, man.
You know. 2, 15, 24, 35. Yeah, sure.
So you're okay now, right?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Yep.
The way these microphones are at a right angle,
Am I in the right
you
spot?
gotta have it pointed right
Right there?
out. That way you hear yourself.
All right. All good? Mike, we check out your X's and O's tonight.
Oh, yeah.
hungry to win their conference title at the end of the season. Northern Kentucky taking on UCF, and we are so glad you're along for the ride as well, alongside the sharpshooter Mike O'Donnell. I'm Bernie Gunther. This kind of has a March Madness feeling tonight, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, no question. Northern Kentucky can play. They're one of the better mid-major teams.
Say it again, Bert. Yeah, you have fun too, man. That's the most important thing.
magic in the air tonight as the CFE Arena hosts two teams hungry to win their conference title at the end of the season. Northern Kentucky taking on UCF, and we are so glad you're along for the ride as well, alongside the sharpshooter Mike O'Donnell. I'm Bernie Gunther. This kind of has a March Madness feeling tonight, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah, no question. Northern Kentucky can play. They're one of the better mid-major teams in the country, and UCF picked to win the American Conference. I think we have the most underrated game in the country tonight.
We got a ton of players that are going to be fun to watch tonight, including Drew McDonald. It's a guy, 3 games in double figures already this season.
Yeah, he does everything for the Norse. I talked with Coach Brandon last night over the phone, and he said he's everything to this team. He can play inside and out. I love his ability down the low post. He's got that old school Kevin McHale footwork and his ability to shoot the 3. Quite simply, McDonald is one of the best mid-major players in the country.
Well, the nightmare here in Orlando, they waited a long time to watch Aubrey Dawkins hoop it up. But man, it has been worth the wait. What a start to his season here.
And Dawkins is just getting his feel. He's got that rare combination between fundamentally sound and freak athlete. He's so difficult to defend in the half court and one of the more electrifying players in the American Conference.
Mike, break it down for us tonight. What's going to be the difference, the X's and O's?
You know, Northern Kentucky does a great job of attacking offenses, specifically in the press, and I think UCF does struggle with some pressure defense. We saw that in their opener against Ryder. I think Northern Kentucky needs to continue to turn up the pressure, specifically in the full court, and they're going to have to get creative offensively. For UCF, they got to get early action for Taco Fall. The offense runs better through him when they go to him early in the post.
Check out our coaches tonight. John Brandon, head coach of the Northern Kentucky Norse. He's got his team out to a perfect 6-0 start. Team eager to win the Horizon League. NKU picked to finish 2nd overall. And on the flip side, UCF, Johnny Dawkins, what has he done since he's taken over this Knight program here in his 3rd season? This is the first time ever that the Knights a preseason pick to win their league.
They check all the boxes: leadership, depth, experience. This is a very talented UCF Knights basketball team, but they face an undefeated team in Northern Kentucky here tonight.
And they have a 7'6" center, Taco Fall, helping them win the opening tip. Terrell Allen will control it. Knights opened the season 1-1 at home, and they went on the road and won the Myrtle Beach Invite. Defense was the name of the game and one of the big reasons why they won that event defensively. As a move inside by Colin Smith as we check out the starters tonight for the Knights: Taylor Allen, Dawkins, Taco Fall, and Colin Smith, the transfer from George Washington. This is Colin Smith. How important is it to have this sophomore now a part of this program? He's from Jacksonville, so this is just a short ride from his hometown.
You know, I think it's funny is Colin Smith is closing in on 6'10". So when you look at the starting 5 for UCF, you see Taco Fall at 7'6", and he just engulfs the paint. And when Taco Fall leaves the game, maybe due to foul trouble, Colin Smith can easily shift from the 4 position to the 5 position, and you forget you've got a 6'10" guy there playing tandem with Taco Fall. That's why it's so important for Colin Smith to be productive.
Yeah, Colin Smith, he was 2nd on his team a year ago at George Washington in blocks with 29. Nothing wrong with being hovering 6'11"-ish.
No. I have to beg to get 5'11" on my stat sheet.
Smith makes them both, and he matches his total points with his last outing on the court where he scored only 2 points. Here's the first offensive possession for Northern Kentucky. Joko, Robinson, Sharp, Walton, and McDonald, their starting 5 tonight. There's McDonald. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch with the ball. And they love to shoot the 3 as you see Sharp fire from the outside, and it's rebounded by Taco Fall. Aubrey Dawkins, just a great, well-rounded player. They feed the big man inside. Taco Fall, you said they needed to get him going early, and he got a real easy look there.
There's not much you can do when he gets it that low in the post. Anywhere within 5 feet of the rim, it's essentially automatic for Taco Fall.
The Knights capture the first 4 in this one. McDonald wide open for 3. Long and rebounded by Smith.
So that's where Northern Kentucky can take advantage. If McDonald can get open looks from the 3-point line, he doesn't miss many. And you have Taco Fall, who's not used to guarding the 3-point line. guarding McDonald.
Allen feeding the big man once again. Plenty of time on the clock. They kick it out to B.J. Taylor. And a good look for Dawkins for three. And rebounded by Joko.
Have loved the defense by Joko so far in the perimeter. He has had active hands, great pressure defense.
Terrell Allen called for the foul. Reaching in on Joko. Think about the difference for this UCF team. They won 19 games a season ago. And injuries, everything that could go wrong for Johnny Dawkins, it seemed like it did go wrong a year ago.
Yeah, and for them to win 19 games, I think is a testament to coaching. And on that point too, Bernie, you have to think about the fact that their two best players, B.J. Taylor and Taco Fall, just last year only played one game together.
Goaltending the call. Taco Fall reached up. Tyler Sharp's going to get the basket.
Well, I love Tyler Sharp's game. Former walk-on. He was second in the country in scoring for all of walk-ons last year before he earned a scholarship this year. A really great story. Tyler Sharp, fantastic 6'1" point guard.
It's great to see the guys that come in and do the work. And then to earn that scholarship, what that must mean is you see Taco feed Dawkins inside, and he lost it. That'll be Northern Kentucky basketball.
It is a bit of a double-edged sword. You know, I was talking with Coach Brandon last night, is how do you guard Taco Fall, especially when he's being aggressive? You don't want to double, because you've got three-point shooters on the perimeter. You don't want to necessarily front because you can't get around a 7'6" guy. So it's so important to have great ball pressure. The guards for Northern Kentucky have to play great tonight defensively.
Wow, what a feed by Sharp to find McDonald, and they just pivoted right around the big man.
I love Sharp's ability. He's a great three-point shooter, but then he can put it on the deck with a nice little pump fake, a great dribble drive attacking the big fella.
How about the starter for And Walton down the lane. And a blocking foul is going to go against the Knights.
If you're going to take advantage of UCF in an area, it could be defensive transition, especially after a miss. Taco Fall isn't necessarily slow, but he is not the fastest player on the court. So if you can push in transition, that's a great opportunity for players like Walton and McDonald to try and get easy buckets and stay in the game.
Walton, a junior from Lima, Ohio. He was added to the starters his final 4 games of the season, averaging 8.3 points per game in those final 4, and then he really used that momentum into his junior campaign. You never know when a couple of games that you get creates an opportunity for you the rest of your career.
You have to stay ready all the time, especially if you're a player coming off the bench. And if you can shoot the three like Walton, it does help.
Northern Kentucky with their first lead of this basketball game. Allen kicking it out. This is Burtz for 3. Taco Fall, the big man at 7'4", came down with a rebound, and then he couldn't control the loose ball, but then his teammate Colin Smith grabbed it and was fouled.
Even though the Norse fouled on that particular loose ball, I thought they did a great job trying to attack the ball. It's so hard to box out Taco Fall. You've got 3 Norse players around swiping, clawing, trying to get a deflection. That's exactly what you need to do. Taco Fall almost took the ball above his head, but he's been better this year from last year, keeping the ball above his head. You don't need to bring it down below your waist. That's where guys like you and me, Bernie, we try and get steals, you know?
Absolutely.
Good D by Sharp. Wow.
Into Taco Fall. I mean, if the big man's 7'4", no chance you or I could reach up and grab it.
Well, UCF lulls you to sleep on the perimeter. It's good drive and kick, penetration by Allen and by Taylor, and Taco Fall spin and post. Got 2 wide open down low.
Not a good start for Northern Kentucky from the outside, unable to connect again from 3-point range. Taylor feeding the big man, and this has been the story early on in this one, backing him down. You talked about Taco Fall getting going early, and that's been the story today.
Well, I think he's done a good job of keeping it simple, right? One dribble, go to the rim. The big fella knows how to play underneath the rim. The Norse are going to have to figure that out. The Knights up 1.
teams with high expectations going into the season, and a big reason because they have big star power.
Yeah, for the Knights, UCF, B.J. Taylor, Big Shot Barry, they call him. He is one of the most clutch players in the American Conference, one of the greatest players in the history of UCF already. And Drew McDonald, love his game, old school game down in the post. And he's well on his way to breaking Northern Kentucky's all-time scoring and rebounding career marks. An outstanding senior player.
Yeah, it's coming up. McDonald has 31 points. His last time out, 8 of 12 from the field in that one. And you take a look on the other side, B.J. Taylor, he's led UCF in scoring each of his first 3 seasons, including averaging almost 16 points a game a year ago, despite all the time that he was off the floor.
My favorite part of his game this year, outside of his leadership ability, is that he hasn't taken bad shots. He hasn't had to force tough shots. Last year, UCF was constantly looking for an offensive identity, but with Aubrey Dawkins, Frank Burtz, and Colin Smith, they've added much-needed help to B.J. Taylor.
Sharp gets it to Robinson, 15 to shoot. Neither team has hit a three-point basket in the first 4 minutes of this one. Robinson around the traffic and dribbled it out of play. That'll be Knights basketball.
You know, it's interesting to see the substitution patterns. With Taco Fall out, Coach Brandon brings in Chris Vogt, who's a 7'1" center. Does a great job of shot blocking. It'll be interesting to see when Vogt and Taco Fall are in the game at the same time.
Isn't it interesting to have the 7-footer go off and a 7-footer come on?
Strange, you very rarely see that. That's correct.
Brown onto the floor as well for the Knights. Smith gets it over. This is Burtz. Brown in some traffic, floats it up too strong. And Vogt, the big man, is fouled as he tried to pull down the board. Here's Chris Vogt, sophomore, 11 blocks this season.
I do think Vogt has a chance to be really good. He's got like a Kentucky high school state record for blocks in a game in a season. Really great rim protector. I thought that was a fantastic recruiting job by Coach Brandon.
And they feed Vogt inside, and he's got the basket off the glass to tie us up at 7 points apiece.
And a heck of a pocket pass by Sharp.
Brown brings it up to the Knights' leading scorer, B.J. Taylor, averaging 16 points a game, coming off 13, but he was just 3 of 11 from the field his last time out on the floor. In some trouble, kicks it back. This is Colin Smith. Spin move at the free throw line. And the little man, Robinson, comes in to get the board. Here's Robinson around traffic again, floats it up. And the loose ball picked up by the Knights.
A little herky-jerky for both teams right now with new lineups in. You're getting a feel for the game.
Burtz likes the spot, but floats it way long and then almost got his own miss, but a foul on the ground.
I really do like Sharp's ability. Check out this pocket pass. A tight window, an excellent finish by Vogt by avoiding the contact. This is a chance for Northern Kentucky to really grow as a basketball team. When you look at Sharp and Vogt together, for them to manufacture points while McDonald's on the bench, that is a good sign for the Norse.
Look at B.J. Taylor go right to the hoop, but he comes up short. Robinson back the other way. And a foul away from the ball between Vogt and the big man. And the foul's going to go against Colin Smith.
You want to talk about how great of a job Coach Brandon has done recruiting. On the floor right now for Northern Kentucky, you've got 3 Kentucky Mr. Basketball finalists, and Faulkner, McDonald, and Sharp. And Faulkner actually won it last year, was Mr. Basketball of Kentucky. I mean, this is one of the better mid-major programs in the country.
This is a team nobody would want to face when the brackets come out. Offensive foul.
You're exactly right, especially by the, you mentioned it earlier, Bernie, a lot of new faces. They lost 3 starters from last year, 1 from graduation, 2 transfers. As you take a look at the foul, pretty good call. Would agree with that call. By January, February, you'd have to figure that Northern Kentucky's going to have a great rhythm. They're a great three-point shooting team. They do a good job of getting to the free throw line. Dangerous team out of the Horizon League.
B.J. Taylor floated up, feeds Colin Smith inside, still sticking with it.
How about that pass by B.J. Taylor? His ability to hang in the lane, my goodness. That is a very underrated aspect of B.J. Taylor's game, is his body control. That's really what makes him so difficult to guard. It's not that he's lightning quick, he's fast, but he's so strong. He's very gifted physically that a normal player might get bumped out of the lane, whereas B.J. Taylor is able to absorb that contact.
Taco Fall back onto the floor. He's a perfect 2 for 2 from the floor. His team, though, has hit 1 of their last 9, going on a little bit of a drought since he's been taken out of the lineup over the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, and here's the matchup too, Bernie. You got Chris Vogt, 7'1", versus Taco Fall, 7'6". This is Vogt's really true test in his sophomore campaign, going against a red oak tree in Taco Fall.
Fall just a 21% free throw shooter, 4 of 19. Mixing up the style, though.
I know.
5 of 20.
I actually don't like his form right now. I thought his form was better last year, and his free throw percentage has actually decreased every year since his freshman year. But I say that only to reverse jinx him, and that Taco Fall actually makes 2 in a row.
Isn't it like your golf game, though, when
Yeah.
you got the yips and you try the belly putter, you're just trying to get anything to really get the groove?
Listen, Taco Fall's form looks 10 times better than Markelle Fultz's form for the Sixers, I can tell you that.
Joko kicks it out to Sharp. Floats it up over the big man, and Taco Fall is there. That's the problem. 7'4", just getting the arm up probably makes you change the way you're trying to attack the basket.
That's actually why UCF's defensive field goal percentage is always top 3, top 5 in the country. It's not necessarily the blocks from Taco Fall that really hurt you, is that he makes you take 7 to 8 bad shots a game, in that they're shots that you don't practice. You may have to shoot an 8 or 9 foot fadeaway jumper on the baseline, and you don't practice those shots. And that's really, statistically, it doesn't come up individually for Taco Fall, but it comes up as a team.
And you talk about the benefit, Johnny Dawkins, he's held opponents shooting just 38% in his first 2 seasons here coaching Orlando. How about that look? McDonald finding Vogt, and then Vogt's going to go to the free throw line.
2 great thumbs up from me on that play. First of all, what an awesome pass by McDonald in the post. That's a little bit of sign of he's like a point guard on the block. And then Chris Vogt does not shy away from contact. I like that from the sophomore big fella.
Vogt coming off of just 3 points his last time out. He struggles at the line as well, 46% free throw shooter.
Asked Coach Brandon on the phone last night. I said, who's the one player you really would like to make a big jump this year to help your team? And he said, no question, Chris Vogt. He has a chance to be really special. We just need him to be more aggressive and learn our system more consistently.
Allen pushing it down the floor for UCF. They've got a 2-point advantage as we come upon 12 minutes to play. Floated up to Taco, and he's there with a big finish.
Excellent pass, Terrell Allen. That's a set play called by Coach Johnny Dawkins. A little pick and roll action at the top of the key. Hard to guard, Bernie.
9 points for Taco Fall. He's a point off his average of 10 already. Vogt, good ball movement. McDonald for 3. Got it. First 3-point basket made today by the Norse.
Gorgeous basketball. First drive by Sharp, and then the presence of mind of Vogt to know where his best player on the floor is, his best teammate in McDonald, knocks down the 3.
It's a team that comes in 12th in the country in 3-point shooting. Already taken 159 3-point attempts early on in the season, so they're going to see him take a ton. Taco time on a Saturday night. Big start for Taco Fall And he's got UCF a point ahead of the Norse, trying to hand them their first loss of the season here in Orlando.
We're going to do strong D. Both teams. Is what it looks like. That's what it looks like. I mean, this is a game of defense pretty much, so. Back. 15, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and
Burning up their Mike O'Donnell back inside the CFE arena for the first ever meeting between UCF and the Northern Kentucky Norse. And we knew that this one was going to be a defensive battle, Mike.
Yeah, Northern Kentucky is doing a really nice job on ball pressure at the top of the key. Now they've let a few plays slide, and Taco Fall's been able to work that pick and roll with Terrell Allen. On the flip side, UCF, they do such a good job in the half court of making you take shots that you don't practice. That's why their defensive field goal percentage is always top 10 in the country.
All about Taco Fall. He's got 9 of the 11 early on in this one. And it's Allen at a career-high 22 against St. Joseph's in the semifinal of the Myrtle Beach invite on 8 of 11 shooting at the free throw line.
Here's what will be interesting for Northern Kentucky is that most of their offense in the half court was actually manufactured by Sharp. And with him on the bench, who's going to be the playmaker for the Norse in the half court?
Allen missed them both. Robinson, they flip it to him, and he goes right to the hoop, reverse, and blocked down low by Taco Fall. And then Allen scoops up with the loose ball, and Allen races the other way, and then he is going to be blocked by Joko.
There's great defense on both sides. How about the sprint back by Joko? I love the hustle.
End-to-end, these two teams digging it up. They find Taco Fall inside, and Fall is going to be fouled by Vogt. But it looked like Vogt almost blocked that one as well.
Yeah, how are you supposed to guard that? But check out this block by Taco Fall. Robinson must know better. That has to be a drive and kick. You cannot go up against Taco Fall. How about the spin and post by Taco Fall on the low block? 7'6". Oof, hard to guard.
Doesn't get the home court bounce. He's still 3 of 5 for the free throw line. If he could take the 20% that he's at and even make it 50, 60%, 40%, be a huge win for UCF because of how many times he goes to the line.
Actually, a big point of emphasis for the entire team of the Knights. They were a very poor free throw shooting team last year. It's a good point, Bernie. You know, you're able to manufacture 8 more points a game off free throws. That could be the difference between 4 or 5 wins for this team.
McDonald, great vision down low to find Walton, kicks it back to McDonald. Great ball movement for the Norse. They find the open man in the corner, and the shot no good for Maccabee.
Can't argue with that miss. That's a really good ball movement by the Norse.
Allen, I don't know whether he was floating it up for Dawkins or not. He probably would say he was.
Of course, of course. It could have. Was it a bad shot? Probably, but we're not going to say that. That was a pass by Allen, right?
you like to see Allen have a little more patience in transition there?
Honestly, that's a surprising shot by Allen. It's a great stat line. He's been good all year. He was 4 or 5 from 3 as McDonald knocks down that three. He was 4 or 5 from 3 in the win over St. Joe's. He's the MVP of that game. The next game, in the championship game versus Western Kentucky, he did not attempt a three-point shot because there weren't any open. Historically, Terrell Allen has been very consistent and very patient on taking good shots and allowing the defense to not dictate what he wants to do.
So the three-pointers a moment ago, McDonald has the only 2 3-point baskets for either team early on. He's got Northern Kentucky out to a 13-12 advantage. This is a Norse team that a lot of people feel has a good chance at being at the top of the Horizon League. It was actually Wright State picked to win the conference, but NKU picked second overall.
And you've got the Horizon League preseason player of the year and Drew McDonald. I would say your chances are pretty high of getting to that championship game. That's the goal for Coach Brandon. Win the Horizon League Conference tournament.
Taylor converts them both, and the Knights back up by 1 with 9:40 to play here in the opening half.
You know, Bernie, it's pretty remarkable that Northern Kentucky's in a place right now where their goal is to win the conference championship, in that they've only been Division I. They've been Division I for less than 10 years. It might take teams decades to get to that type of prominence.
Joko short. McSpadden kicks it back out. This is Taylor. And Taylor's going to go back to the line. You talk about that quick surge for Northern Kentucky. Moved into D1 status 2016-17. And this is a team that's out to a 6-0 start. This is their best start ever as a D1 program. Previously, they were 13-0 as a Division II program. But you think about North Dakota State and the Summit League, how quickly they got to the top, winning the regular season. Of course, Florida Gulf Coast University, FGCU, Dunk City down there in Fort Myers, making a run in the tournament. They're another program that moved into the D1 level really quick. But this is a program that's got really all the right pieces. You can go to Northern Kentucky and take a 10-minute trip right into the heart of Cincinnati.
Yeah. I think, number one, they recruit really well out of the state of Kentucky. And that's a testament to Coach Brandon. And he's only been, before he got there, Northern Kentucky, the most games they won as a program was 13 until Coach Brandon got there. He had one of the best program turnarounds about 3 years ago. Check out that block from Aubrey Dawkins. There's some of that freak athleticism. You know, Dawkins, I was talking with strength and conditioning coach Alex Parr of UCF a week ago, and I asked him about Dawkins' athleticism. He says, well, here's how I know he's a great athlete, is that he literally broke our vertical leap machine.
Wow.
In the weight room. It only goes up to 45 inches, and he jumped so high that the machine did not register when Aubrey Dawkins jumped. And I said, that's a pretty good indicator of elite athleticism, is when you break the vertical leap machine.
And that's what you want on your team, elite athletes. Smith is going to foul McDonald. The 6th foul on the Knights. Northern Kentucky already with 12 fouls in the first half. The Knights are in the double bonus for the final 8:52.
That's what Northern Kentucky does really well. And they shoot a lot of threes. You mentioned it earlier, Bernie, but they have over 185 free throw attempts on the year. That's good for 3rd in the nation. They do a phenomenal job of getting to the charity stripe.
Joko gives it back to Robinson, going around Brown, and Brown is there with the block again. Block party here at CFE Arena for the UCF Knights. Rejecting shots left and right, and now converting the other way is Aubrey Dawkins. He's got the floater, and Dawkins has his first basket of the evening.
That's such a big-time play. The ball fake, one dribble floater game from a 6'6" athlete. Tough.
But the answer the other way, Drew McDonald for 3. He's in double figures with 11.
It's so hard to stop McDonald. You know, you may not see him do much in the post due to Taco Fall's presence, but he can shoot that 3.
B.J. Taylor with the answer for the Knights.
Kind of got the feeling once B.J. Taylor got to the free throw line and saw the ball go in, He's a rhythm player. He can score in bunches.
We're finding our rhythm here now. McDonald kicks it out. Walden for three. He's got it. And a timeout called by Northern Kentucky.
That was awesome, awesome ball movement from the Norse. It went around the perimeter twice. Northern Kentucky can play. They are giving UCF all they can handle. The Norse only down 2. 7:30 left in the first half.
We're going to show state of Florida. I'll show you this real quick, guys. Bring up font. This is kind of interesting. 13 Division I Florida teams and their picks. We have 2 pages. They'll bring the next page in. You guys cool with that? Yeah, we'll do both. It's fine. 30 back. Okay, got it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
High expectations for UCF here in Orlando. Picked to win the American by the league coaches. First time in program history. Even after their 4 Atlantic Sun championships, they've never been picked to win the league. And take a look around the Sunshine State. UCF, Bethune-Cookman picked to win their respective conference. FGCU and North Florida expected to battle in the Atlantic Sun.
And Florida State picked to finish 7th in the ACC. How about this, Bernie, the job that Leonard Hamilton's done in Tallahassee? He's got in the last 10 years, he has the 3rd most wins in the ACC, just behind Duke and North Carolina. So you don't usually think of Florida State as a basketball powerhouse, but he can win some games there in Tallahassee.
And it's interesting because you see Florida Atlantic picked 12th in Conference USA. That's the only team that's defeated UCF.
Yeah, but that was a game in which Florida Atlantic got really hot from 3. They hit 12 threes in that game, and quite honestly, UCF just didn't play hard enough, and the Owls came to play and had that tip in at the buzzer. That was a great win for Florida Atlantic. They'll probably be a little bit better than I think people give them credit for.
Interesting because Northern Kentucky called the timeout, and then Dawkins gets a 3-point basket right out of the timeout. Robinson picks up the loose ball, floats it up, and gets the roll.
I do like Robinson's game. He's always around the ball. He's one of those guys, has a nose for where the ball is at all times. Jet quick point guard.
It's the first second chance points of this basketball game for the Norse. Stolen away by Robinson. The senior wreaking havoc. McDonald, great cross-court pass to a wide-open Maccabee, but he can't convert.
That's why McDonald does all the little things that drive you crazy as an opposing coach. You got to worry about the 3-point shot, and then he can put it on the deck and make plays for his teammates.
And then Griffin short, Nelson with the board, and they're moving it around again. This time a step foot in. And you see how unselfish Drew McDonald is. Probably had a look at it in the corner and decided one more pass.
It kind of embodies this entire team, though. I've seen multiple extra passes from all types of players for Northern Kentucky in the half court.
And they got a good look for Maccabee, but Brown comes down with the board.
No, they're just missing shots.
Dawkins for 3 from the other side, rebounded by McDonald. Second board of the basketball game for Drew McDonald. He's got 11 of the 21 for Northern Kentucky here in the first 15. McDonald for three. I don't think he's got a spot on the floor he doesn't like.
No, he can shoot it from anywhere on the perimeter. That's what makes him so dangerous. Around the rim, behind the three-point line. If you're UCF, you want a good offensive set.
This is Frank Burtz, two-year starter at East Los Angeles College. He was a three-point phenom his first two seasons.
Coach Dawkins is really high on Burtz. He feels he can be a nice spark plug, that kind of X-factor type player off the bench. Specifically his three-point shooting to stretch the defense.
Foul against Allen. As McDonald was backing him down.
Let's take a look at this foul. Easy mismatch. Boy, that is really close, though. You don't have to be still to get that charge. Terrell Allen taking it right in the chest, though. I think that call could have gone either way. And if you're a little guy in the post, you got to act a little bit, you know, Bernie?
Drew McDonald with 11. The rest of the North with 10. It's not really a surprise. McDonald averaged 21 points a game as he was the MVP of the Northern Kentucky Basketball Classic. They won that tournament with an 89-83 win against Coastal Carolina.
It's not surprising, but if you take it a step further, who's going to be the #2 scorer for this team? You know, I think that could be the next step, because when McDonald is on the bench, you saw them struggle in the half court. To me, I think it could be Sharp as that playmaker to really kind of step up offensively for Northern Kentucky.
Taco Fall draws the foul. It goes against Silas Hideki, who just subbed into the game. And again, the Knights, they've been in the double bonus for the final 9 minutes of the first half. And Taco Fall back to the free throw line. He's 4 of 6 tonight. We'll see if he's found his groove.
If I'm in the double bonus in the first half, late in the first half, and I'm B.J. Taylor, Aubrey Dawkins, I'm either attacking the rim or I'm running offense for Taco Fall. You know, you want to get back to the free throw line and manufacture easy points.
They'll take that. 1 of 2 from Taco Fall all day long, right?
No question. No question. Absolutely.
6-point Knight lead. Still a 2-possession basketball game here in the first half. Robinson gets it out to the sharpshooter. And Sharp's got the 3-point basket.
Literally the sharpshooter, Bernie. He can absolutely stroke it. How about that quick release from the lefty?
He's got 5 points tonight. That was his first 3-point basket. And 5 3-pointers made as Griffin travels down the lane and somehow found enough room to toss it up and get the bucket.
Yeah, Northern Kentucky is going to have to do a better job of containing dribble penetration in the half court, specifically from B.J. Taylor, who really ignited that play for UCF.
McDonald.
Smart.
Taco Fall came out on him and he drove right to the hoop but missed it.
It's a great play. Crafty, you know. That's the best word to describe McDonald.
B.J. Taylor. Talked about that dribble drive, now pulls back. Here's Robinson. Norris trying to get back into it. No easier way than to find McDonald. And McDonald with that extra pass, getting it out to Decky.
That's what that's what Taco Fall does. McDonald 9 times out of 10 would try and lay that up. But UCF on the other end, making the right plays, trying to get dribble penetration. You're in the double bonus, get to the rim. Griffin trying to make things happen for UCF.
What's that? I don't know why we didn't get it. Here we go.
Champion Feast Week. Hopefully you're getting your fill of hoops. UCF certainly did when they went to the Myrtle Beach Invite. Great all-around event for UCF to really test their talent.
I think two big takeaways from that championship they took home from Myrtle Beach. One, it was a bounce back from the Florida Atlantic loss. I think, you could have really hung your head and kind of gone down a rabbit hole and not found yourself a rhythm. But with Taco Fall, it was the most aggressive and decisive he had been all season long, even dating back to last year. And when he is aggressive and decisive in the low post, it changes the entire dynamic of the game because it's so hard to scout against. And then it opens up shooting for Aubrey Dawkins, B.J. Taylor, Frank Bird, Steon Griffin. That's the big catalyst in the half court for UCF, and he was fantastic in the Myrtle Beach Invitational.
And you think if you're a UCF night, this is a huge week for the program in general.
Yeah.
Game day, ABC primetime football, a team that is on an unbelievable winning streak. And then if you're Johnny Dawkins, you can really take what has happened on the football field just across the way at Spectrum Stadium and use it to your advantage. Because a lot of people think that this is a UCF night team that could be Final Four bound.
No question. I think, from a basketball standpoint, everything starts with football, right?
Right.
But from a basketball standpoint, you want to use that fan engagement to grow the program, to grow its ability to engage a fan base. Because this team, a lot of people feel can make a deep run in March because of their depth, because of their experience and their talent. And I think as you take a look, there's a lot of Hawaiian leis being worn in kind of reference to Mackenzie Milton's just horrific injury in the win over USF last night. And that was just an absolute travesty of a situation.
But it's a team that I'm sure they're saying, we want Bama, we want to get into the playoff. They're going to get a chance to face Bama on the basketball court next.
Yeah, you can only control so much, right? So you just try to keep winning. Easier said than done, but I think the job that Coach Heupel has done with the UCF football team has been fantastic. His game planning in the second half was tremendous. And, the Knights will play Alabama next in basketball. And I think, you're going to have a lot of UCF fans, football fans showing up for that one, saying we want Bama football.
B.J. Taylor at the free throw line. Knights up by 2 minutes, 53 seconds remaining. Step one, though, would be how big would it be for this night team to live up to the expectations, if you will, and win the American Conference? It's really outstanding in basketball.
No, I think it'd be huge because it's going to be another 3 or 4 bid league. I think probably 3. I think you're looking at Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF as legitimate NCAA tournament teams. And quite honestly, Coach Hurley has got UConn rolling right now. They had a massive win over Syracuse in the Garden. And I think, in a 3-team bid league, UCF certainly will be vying for one of those top 3 spots. And they are built. This team is certainly built for a late run in March.
Northern Kentucky feels like they should be a part of March Madness as well. As McDonald finds Walton streaking down the line.
McDonald gets credit for that assist, but Walton doing a nice job of seeing his defender turn his back. And a nice little back cut towards the rim. I love that offense for Northern Kentucky.
2 minutes to play. We got a good one here. 2 points separating UCF and Northern Kentucky. 10 to shoot. Taylor driving right down. McDonald is there. Stepped in front, took away the basketball, and here comes the North with a chance to tie it. Trying to take the lead, but they miss the basket, and Taco falls there with a board.
I like that shot, though. I think in transition, you got an opportunity to knock down an open 3. You take it.
Taylor will slow things down. Taco Fall's got 11 of the 32. McDonald's got 12 of the 30. Those are the 2 big men leading the way for the Knights of the North. And Taco Fall trying to clear the way for B.J. Taylor, but he walked with it, a turnover for the Knights.
Take a look at the back cut by Walton. Watch his defender. Burtz turns his head, he's get caught ball watching. And then a nice pass by McDonald. An excellent cut. Love that offense. Bernie, you and I talked about this a little bit earlier. What's the next step for this UCF team to really become an elite type basketball club? And it starts on the offensive end. You know, last year they really struggled, only averaged 62 points a game. You know, this year they're averaging around 70, and you have a number of players still trying to get a rhythm. And as you look in the first half, you know, they only got 32 points. That is something that they're going to need to be better in the half court.
McDonald challenging the big man, and he draws the foul.
You know, I actually spoke with the referees before the game, and I asked them, how difficult is it to call Taco Fall? I said it's very difficult because you just can't see everything. Players bounce off of him, even if it looks like it may not be a foul. Players bounce off him, you know, as if they're running into a brick wall, and it's very hard to call that foul. And if you're McDonald, you got to use that to your advantage. I don't agree with that foul call, but I understand why it was made.
Second foul on Taco Fall, who'll head to the bench for the final 1 minute. And McDonald's at the free throw line with an opportunity to tie it. One of two, but rebounded by Walton inside, but he's blocked. And Griffin and the Knights off to the races with the basket the other way. Sharp out of control, but he draws the foul.
Well, I love this pace, though. How about that? A monster block on one end by Chad Brown, and the finish on Dayon Griffin. Check out this block by Chad Brown. I almost thought it was goaltending. It was really close, but I think Chad Brown had the right timing for that. But then you can't relax, right? You score a bucket, great in transition. Northern Kentucky does an excellent job pushing it back in transition.
Both these teams can push with the basketball, that's for sure.
You almost kind of feel like both teams are so good defensively that each team is waiting for that kind of explosive moment where you can rattle off a couple buckets in a row. But you give credit to both teams who have been outstanding in the half court so far in the first half.
The struggle today, Northern Kentucky just 4 of 10 from the free throw line. One of the reasons why they're down by 2 as UCF has the basketball with 40 seconds remaining. Walton got a hand on it. 12 seconds to shoot on this night possession.
That may not seem like a big deal, but a deflection by Walton just disrupts the flow of offense. And that's one thing that Northern Kentucky does really well. They do a good job of getting deflections in the half court.
Into Taylor, only 10 seconds on the shot clock. B.J. Taylor lost a handle on it, and they'll have 4 seconds to shoot, as we'll say that Northern Kentucky was the last one to touch the basketball.
Defense by committee on B.J. Taylor. I think the Norse have done a pretty solid job so far guarding the preseason player of the year.
Quickly into B.J. Taylor. Didn't get a good look, but came close. Bunker comes down with a board for the Norse. And they have a chance to play for the final shot of the first half. An opportunity to tie it or take the lead on this final possession. 7 to shoot. Robinson going to the hoop, lays it up, and it's going to be rebounded by the Knights, and they will go to the break with a 34-32 halftime lead. You talked about Taco Fall needing to get going for Johnny Dawkins early on, and he was big early for the Knights with 11 points in the first half.
No question. They went to him early in the paint, and Northern Kentucky is having a hard time trying to figure out how to guard Taco Fall in the post. But the Norse have been so good with everybody else that UCF has had a hard time manufacturing points. Expect a number of second half adjustments for both teams. 34-32 at half. We got a good one.